What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're taking a step back from the trucks and we're gonna do some work on some tools. So I've been needing to do this for a while now, and that is get some work done on the sandblaster I have. What I have is just a cabinet from Harbor Freight. It does work out of the box, but it does need some upgrades. I think once we get these done, it's gonna work a lot better. Let's check it out. I'll show you what we got and let's get to work fixing this thing up. So this is the cabinet. I'm sure you guys have seen it on the channel. That's what we're gonna be working on. Right here is everything we're doing to it. So we got a new piece of glass for it. This one comes with just like a plexiglass, which it just attracts static and it doesn't work that great. So we got an actual tempered piece of glass that we're gonna install. We got this little piece of pipe here to build a new pickup tube. So what it has right now is just a single tube right here with no vent or anything. What we're gonna build is basically a double pickup with one tube being the vent. So it has a vent to continuously pick up sand. Right now it's just it spurts. It's not very consistent with the sand. It just kind of comes in bursts. So I think the vented pickup is going to help a lot with that. This right here is a dust deputy. What this does is you hook this in between the vacuum and the cabinet, and this is supposed to take out any dust, any particles, any sand that's coming out of the cabinet, and put that, basically we're going to bolt this right here onto a 5-gallon bucket, and it'll basically dump all the sand and dust into the bucket and not into the vacuum. And I do run the bags instead of the filter in the vacuum, and it still doesn't last that long and just fills up with sand. So we're going to see how this works. I bought the one with the tube. And I've seen a lot of people do this, and in order to hook up the dust deputy to the blaster here coming out the side, they have like 10 different PVC fittings to get it to work. I bought this one with that tube and it hooks straight up. You don't have to do any fittings, no nothing. You just hook this up, bam, like that, up to the cabinet, and you're done. So we're gonna get a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, bolt that in. And then we got a new light. The light that's in there is absolutely pathetic. It is terrible light. So I don't know if this one's going to work. This is like a little under cabinet light for like a kitchen. It's a hardwired light. So we're going to wire that in to here, and hopefully this one will work a lot better than what's in there. I'll show you guys right now how freaking terrible this thing is. So there's off, there's on. Let me close the door, maybe you could see better. Off, on. I mean, it does something, but not a whole lot. So we're gonna wire in the new light, and hopefully this one will work a lot better. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the dust deputy. What I got, 5-gallon bucket right here with a lid, and we're just gonna bolt that thing on right on top of the lid. Hopefully, I didn't realize that lid's not very straight anymore. Hopefully I can get that to straighten out because it does have to seal. But we're basically gonna bolt that in right on top of there, cut a hole in the top of the lid for that obviously, and then that should work just fine. Well, I got this mounted up, and you can see there's a little gap in between each of these holes. This lid just really is pretty thin and flimsy, so I don't know if that's gonna work. Apparently this really does need to seal, so I gotta run to the store in a couple hours. I'm gonna go see if I can find a better lid and bucket setup and just kind of scratch this one. That lid's too flimsy. So I guess while we're waiting for that, we can swap the glass out and make the pickup tube. All right, we got the original glass out. I was completely wrong. This actually does have a piece of tempered glass. It just has this really thick piece of plexiglass that was on top of it, so when I was touching it, you know, it felt like plexiglass. So either way, got a new piece of glass. I'm going to keep this one for a spare, and I don't think I'm going to run that thick piece of plexiglass. This one has like a film on the outside, and then it has one of these little protectors, if you can see that, on the inside to protect it from the sand. So I actually did buy some replacements for the sheets, the protecting sheets. So I think I'm going to leave the glass out for now until I get the pickup tube and light in. It's going to be a lot easier to mount this light without having the glass in. So let's jump on the pickup tube, get that figured out, and then we'll mount the light up. Alright, we're ready to start welding this thing together. So I know I haven't explained it, but I'll go through and explain it to you. So you can see we got two holes here. These holes are going to basically mate just like that, so air can come through the two tubes. So how this is going to work is the vent, this is the vent tube here, so air will come down through here and then transfer through that hole that we drilled right there, transfer into the pickup tube, and that'll allow the whole thing to vent. And then we're also going to drill one more like 1/8 inch hole in the top of this one, and then we don't want this one to be picking up anything from the bottom, so we crimp that and we're going to weld that shut, and we're going to stick these two together, get those holes lined up, weld here to kind of halfway seal in these two holes. We'll throw a bead up here just to keep it all together, and then like I said, one more 1/8 inch hole up here, and we should be good to go with it. One other thing I picked up for the welder is a new foot pedal. This is the one that originally came with the welder. It's the AHP 201 XD. Very good welder. I've had it for a few years now. Not a single issue with it, but this has been one issue that I cannot stand this foot pedal. There's nothing on the bottom. It skids across the floor, and you're always pushed on like this, so you know it just keeps scooting away from you as you're welding, and it's just not very comfortable. This one you can put your whole foot on it, and it's a lot better. It's a lot more precise, and it's got this grip tape on the top and the bottom, so it shouldn't really slide a whole lot. Plus you're not, you know, pushing against it with your foot. Your foot's on the whole pedal, so shouldn't have any more issues. Let's hook this thing up, make sure it works. And that's the main reason I'm gonna be running the TIG today. If it was a regular day, I'd just grab the MIG, bust it out real quick, but I'm trying to get back in the groove of the TIG, just so when I'm building all the intercooler piping, the exhaust piping, everything, I'm freshened up on my TIG skills. So let's get this thing hooked up, get this stuff tacked together, weld it together, and see how it works. All right, we are done with the pickup tube. So you can see welded together. Under here is that hole that will transfer between the two tubes there. We got that welded up. And then that little 1/8" hole on the top of that tube. So we're gonna hook our feet up to the gun at that one there. And we might have to just clip out one of these sections of the grid just to be able to slide the tube down in there, but not a big deal. I think I'm gonna throw just a little bit of paint on that, and then we are good to go for that. So now I wanna get this light hooked up. Let's get it unboxed. I think I'll just mount it like right up in here and just screw it right through the top and wire that into the factory wiring that's already in there for that light. Alright guys, I was going to initially run it through this switch here, but there's no ground wire in that whole system, and I kind of want to run a ground, so this already has a switch on it, so I think I'm going to mount that light right up in here. Yeah, you have to reach in it to turn it on, but that's not a huge deal. So what I'm going to do, take this extension cord here, I'm going to cut the end off, run it through the cabinet here with the little, wherever it went, this deal here, the little connector through the wall there, and then I'll cut the ends off, wire them to here, and bolt the light in, and it's going to be that simple. I'll just have to plug it in and just reach inside, turn the switch on, and then we'll just have to bolt it through the roof through these holes here. So not too bad. It should work pretty good and easy. Alright guys, we got the light wired in and got her turned on. Everything's working like it should, so you either have to come in here and turn it on or off, or I suppose you could just unplug it and plug it back in when you need it on. So there it is. Lights up the cabinet a lot more than that factory light did. So let's get this buttoned up, get the wires tucked up back in there, get the cover back on, and we can throw the glass back in, throw our new pickup tube in, and see if this thing works. All right, we are good to go on the cabinet. We got all this stuff done up. That's nice and tight. Got the glass all secured in. Look how bright this thing is in here already. You can see much better than what it was before. So we actually got some clean glass. I'm actually going to take care of this, redo these tear offs. This sheet that's inside, actually, you can see the glue going around here. But that's actually a clear protective sheet. So every once in a while, I'll peel that off, throw a new one on, make sure I keep this thing clean so I can actually see through it. And then we got our pickup right down in there. So everything is good to go with that. One last thing we need to do is finish this. I got back from the store. I completely forgot to look for a bucket. So what I'm gonna do is basically cut out this circle for the bottom side just out of some plywood, and I'm gonna bolt it on the bottom side to kind of sandwich this lid here to keep that nice and tight and sealed up. So I'm gonna cut it out. I'll probably just take this gasket off, trace this gasket out, cut it out of some plywood. All right, that's how it should look when it's set up. The side port goes up to the cabinet, and then the vacuum goes to the top port. What I actually had to do to get that top one to fit is just take the little adapter out of the hose, and then it fits nice and snug over the top. So we are good to go, 100% done. Let's throw something in here and do a little blasting, see if it works any better with that pickup tube. And I got to make sure this thing works, because what I've had to do is just stick the vacuum outside because it's a blowing freaking dust out of the vacuum, and it fills up the shop with a bunch of dust. So hopefully this will do the trick for cleaning up all that dust. So let's get something in here and see what we can do. Well guys, I would say we are a huge success with everything we did. First starting off with the pickup. I remember when I had the other pickup, it would just shoot and burst like just a little bit at a time, but it was never, I could never get it to spray consistent. This time with that new pickup, 100% consistent, always shooting sand. There's never that break and that burst of sand. It's always consistent. Another thing, you can see exactly what you're doing. I'm sure if you guys have seen my other videos of me sandblasting, I got the camera coming through here. You can't see anything barely in the camera. Now crystal clear with the new light, new glass, and as far as this setup goes, I didn't get any dust at all coming out of the vacuum. So I'd say everything we have done was a great success. Much better. It's gonna make sandblasting so much more faster, easier, and just funner. Well, that's it guys. If you got one of these older Harbor Freight sandblasters, I'd say these three or four mods I just did, the best thing you could do for one of these. I get no more dirt coming out, no more dust coming out of the vacuum, filling up the shop. I can actually see what I'm doing, and it sprays sand so much more consistent, just nice even flow of sand. Makes it a lot faster and a lot easier to sandblast. Like always, I'll have all the stuff I used down below in the description box if you want to check it out. All this stuff you can find on Amazon or eBay. I think I had to buy that 5/8 pipe for the pickup tube off of eBay, but everything else I bought on Amazon. So go check it out if you want to do some of these mods to your sandblaster. Well, that's a wrap guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.